So Evan, you'll never guess what happened. Any particular reason why you're up there?
I joined parkour club today and I can't stop. And I'm sort of stuck.
You need help?
Yeah.
Is that your wallet?
Yeah, can you hand that up here?
Yeah, sure. Nope.
Come on! Come back! You know, the Xbox 360 generation was notorious for being overly gritty and realistic.
I mean, everything is just a shade of brown. The ground, the sky, the weapons, his pants, everything is brown.
In 2008, EA started to do away with that with Mirror's Edge. Oh god.
Mirror's Edge drags you into the sun. In the age of dark and gritty, a game that doesn't take place before a rainstorm or a small thermonuclear war is a relief and a breath of fresh air. The game uses so much white and so little gray, it feels like the brightness of your TV set is a little too high. And for the first time in my life, I wish that the game would have opened with gamer correction. And a coupon for a free set of sunglasses because damn, this game burns some retinas. It's a pretty game when you look at the bright skyscrapers and heavy white on reds, and not the faces that always look a little upset like the entire Bush administration.
The story is short, like 6 hours short. And honestly, the whole time, I can say I didn't really care. You play as Faith.
And you know it's Faith because it's shouted into your ear every 5 minutes by your dispatcher.
Blue's incoming, Faith. You might want to be outgoing right about, now. Around you, Faith. Punch through to the plaza. You did good, Faith.
Your sister is framed for murdering someone in the evil government that's evil because they don't let you leap around buildings like you're a 10-year-old kid playing Spider-Man. And some corruption plot fit for a Fox News analyst's wet dream comes out of the woodwork, and you try really hard to pay attention. But between boring, overdramatic dialogue and about 3.5 characters, there's no real reason for you to actually care, unless you're really into Esurance commercials. For a game that's pretty and adult at the same time, using cartoons for cutscenes feels like a waste.
But it compensates for this too with some of the most interesting image blur in a long time. It does really cool effects that can normally only be seen through your actual eyeballs, not your video eyeballs. Faces, as I mentioned, have some trouble, but considering you rarely see anyone besides some blonde girl named Celeste and the cop that looks like Keanu Reeves, that's a small complaint. It's aware that faces look bad, so it covers them up all the time. You're not planning on having intimate dialogue in this game anyways.
90% of the time, this game looks really good. I mean, monochromatic environments and sharp contrast make this game shine. But then you start playing and you get a little bit farther along and the frame rate starts to drop. And it starts having trouble processing its beauty like that pretty nerdy girl in your science class.
The idea is quite innovative and way more straightforward than you'd think. There's a button for upward movement, there's a button for downward movement, there's a button to turn around, and that's pretty much it for the platforming aspect. It's not too complicated for its own good. Unlike some games.
I'm looking at you, Assassin's Creed.
There was a point in time where I spent a solid half hour listening to the same crunching noises as I fell to my death because my character preferred smashing her face against a box rather than grabbing it and not falling to her death. The hitboxes are small and your character isn't terribly bright, so she rarely knows if you want to wall run or just go balls out and leap.
The platforming alone would make this a solid, short game that's ambitious in a good way. Not that snooty, honors kid sort of way. Hey.
But then, cue the sinister music, Dakota. Thank you. But then, Mirror's Edge tries something else. Combat. And the melee combat is okay. Nothing too special. It sort of combines the whole platforming parkour thing, but it's not nearly as fluid as it could be. But it's all fine and dandy. I did spend quite some time in a QuickTime event that was just press Y because I had no idea what I was actually supposed to do.
Because every other QuickTime event in every game ever pops up with the button that you're supposed to hit at a specific time. But Mirror's Edge just flashes red for a split second and it's not really noticeable. However, after some time, it's still what would be considered playable. However, gunplay is disgusting.
I know this isn't an FPS despite being DICE, but holding the gun that far from your face and having that tiny reticle isn't going to be very helpful in any gunfight. It's nice that Faith thinks she knows what she's doing, but honestly, the ability to actually hit anything is pretty much just a pain in the ass. You're better off catching bullets with your face and avoiding the bad guys the next time around. In parts where you actually do have to fight, all this really cool running, jumping, wall running that's fit for an episode of Ninja Warrior gets tossed out of the window for mind-numbing gunplay with no ammo counter or cover system.
Mirror's Edge is one of those attempts at innovation without that false sense of grit in an age of titles punctuated with 3s and 4s at the end. If it wasn't for terrible gunplay, overly dramatic dialogue, and just bad cutscenes, Mirror's Edge would be great. But still, with all its flaws, it's actually onto something, even if that something is a one-way ticket towards the pavement.
Oh my god, Jesus Christ. What you gonna do, bro? What you gonna do? Christ. Doc, yo, give me your fucking milk money. Give me your milk money!